There is a particular kind of happiness in the cart. The screen full of things you've chosen, the little number ticking up, the bright, certain promise that when this arrives, you will feel better. And there's a second feeling too, quieter, that almost nobody admits, the small, gray flatness when the box finally turns up at the door. You open it, and the thing inside is just a thing. The spark is already gone. So you do what we've all been taught to do. You blame yourself. You decide you're greedy, or impulsive, or weak, that you have no self-control. But that flatness is not a character flaw. It's a clue, the most important clue there is, because the rush you felt was real. It just was never about the thing. Your brain was not paying you to own it. It was paying you to find it. To see why, picture the creature this brain was built for. For hundreds of thousands of years, you were a forager, and your survival ran on a single, simple loop: search and find. Out there, somewhere, were berries, roots, a tree heavy with fruit, scattered, hidden, never guaranteed. And the animals that loved the looking, that got a small hit of go, from spotting and gathering, were the ones who kept searching long enough to eat. So evolution wired the reward into the hunt itself. Not the meal at the end, but the finding along the way. And for a forager, that search had a natural end. You found the patch, you gathered what was there, and then it was finished. You went home, full. Then, fairly recently, we rebuilt the world so it never finishes. First, the self-service store. Then, the vast engineered supermarket. And finally, the shopping app in your pocket. An aisle with no walls, no closing time, no last shelf. The hunt that used to end was redesigned to run forever. And here is the machinery underneath, the part that turns a useful instinct into a trap. The neuroscientist Kent Berridge spent decades pulling apart two things we treat as one: wanting and liking. They feel identical. They are not. In his experiments, Berridge found you can split them apart completely. Strip the dopamine out of an animal's brain, and it still loves sugar. The pleasure, the liking, is perfectly intact, but it will no longer cross the cage to get it. The wanting is simply gone. Dopamine, it turns out, was never the pleasure chemical we were sold. It's the wanting chemical, the engine of pursuit. It surges for the cue, the search, the almost, and goes quiet right around the moment you actually get the thing. Read that again, because it explains your whole life as a shopper. The system that drives you to buy and the system that enjoys what you bought are not the same system. And the first one is far, far louder. The wanting can be cranked up without limit, while the liking, the real satisfaction, barely moves. So the cart thrills, and the box disappoints, exactly as built. Now, honesty matters here. This does not mean every purchase is an addiction, or that wanting things makes you broken. Wanting is how a forager stays alive. Compulsive buying is a real and narrower condition, and it deserves to be taken seriously, not waved at. The honest claim is simpler. The pull you feel is an ancient search reward, doing exactly what it evolved to do. So if the wanting was always there, why does it feel impossible to switch off now? Because an entire industry found that gap and built its business inside it. Start with the psychologist B.F. Skinner and a lever. He found the most powerful way to keep an animal pressing. The schedule it could never quit wasn't a reward every time. It was a reward you couldn't predict. Sometimes yes, mostly no, never sure when. That's the slot machine. And it is, precisely, the feed. Pull down to refresh, and maybe there's something good. Maybe not. The infinite scroll is a lever, and you're pulling it. Then there's the room itself. The architect Victor Gruen designed the modern mall to gently disorient you, so you'd lose your list and your plan and just browse. They named the effect after him, the Gruen transfer, though Gruen was so horrified by what it became that he publicly disowned the whole thing. Add one-click buying, the little only two left, the cart that congratulates you, and the numbers follow. The average American now spends around $150 a month on things they never planned to buy, most of it triggered by a discount dangled at exactly the right moment. They don't really sell you things. They sell you the search, and they built it so it can never, ever end. None of this is an instruction. It's a recognition. The next time you feel that pull, the cart filling, the thumb scrolling, the certainty that the next thing is the one, you don't have to fight it or be ashamed of it. You can just see it for what it is. Not greed, not weakness. A gatherer's instinct, ancient and good, pointed at an aisle that someone very deliberately made infinite. Your ancestors felt that same thrill 1,000 times. And then they found the patch and gathered enough and walked home full. The instinct always knew how to arrive. We just built a world that never lets it. So when the wanting comes, and it will, you might let it remind you of the forager you still are. And notice gently that there is no last shelf. There was never meant to be one. The only thing that ends the hunt now is you.